Hey, David Kleiman here with the EMS Operations Division. Today I'm going to be telling you about a new video laryngoscope that we're going to, the UE SCOPE 2. We'll be going over all the features and a little bit different technique when you're intubating with it, and some of the new features that we can do, which is actually going to be pretty cool, coming out with still shots and or videos that later on be used in your PCR. So I'm going to go over some of the new UE SCOPE 2 features. As you can see here, it's got a 3-inch touchscreen. On the 3-inch touchscreen, we'll have a couple of different features that we'll be going over in just a few minutes. Also know that it has a 200-minute battery life, and there's a green battery indicator that's going to be in that top left corner of the screen up here on the left. It will also tell you when you start to record video eventually that how many minutes in that top left corner are left on your videos. Each of them has a single-use blade. We also are going to be able to do a screen mirroring, so if you're doing a face-to-face intubation, the screen will actually invert itself so you can actually see your face-to-face. It's actually, once you connect it and turn the power on, it's actually ready to go in a few seconds. And then if you notice at the bottom here, each of these blades, and we're going to go over it more specifically in a minute, they're hyperangulated, and that makes it easy. You have one blade for either simple intubations all the way to those difficult anterior patients, obese, or patients with long necks. The power button is going to be on top, and on the side right here is going to be your UC connector. The UC connector is going to be connected to the USB for you to download or attach your pictures and videos to your PCR. It's also where we're going to be charging it. Remember, this is 200 minutes at fully charged, so every weekly check on your rescues or ALS equipment, when this gets pushed out to all the ALS engines, you need to make sure that you're charging this to keep it up to 200 minutes. The little black button on all of the single one-time use blades is going to be where you're going to be recording. A simple push of the black button once, you have a still shot picture. If you hold it down, it's going to start recording, and you're going to see a red indicator that's flashing that's telling you currently recording. So until we attach videos to the PCR, if you hold the button down for approximately 2 seconds and you notice a red flashing indicator saying that you're doing a video, you need to double click so you can then get your single picture to attach to your PCR. So right now, once you see that endotracheal tube go through the vocal cords, you're going to do a single one-time push of the black button that will take a snapshot picture that you'll attach to your PCR showing you had a successful intubation. But we will now be able to attach to PCRs a great picture showing how good your intubation you did by watching that tube go straight through the cords. So as you can see right here on the UE scopes, we're going to end up carrying all 5 blades. We're going to have blades from the neonates all the way up to your very obese and giraffe patients. The unique thing about these blades is they're hyperangulated, and I'll show you a blade close up in a second. It's about as narrow for those old school medics in here when we used to manually intubate with the Miller and Macintoshes. It's as wide as the old Miller blades. We're all used to the McGraths or King Vision, and they have wide blades. So the difference here is, for those newer school medics, is that you're going to have to go and do the old school manual intubation techniques to successfully intubate with this device. The cool feature is that every blade is hyperangulated, which that means that you can use this like a Miller blade or a Macintosh blade. It's a combination, or if you're thinking about it from our McGrath standpoints, it's a combination of the extreme blade, which means that once you choose whichever blade you want for your patient, you only need that one blade to intubate that patient. It's not going in there and saying, oh man, I need to go grab a McGrath 4. Oh no, I need to go grab extreme blade. It's one blade that takes the place of 2 old school blades. The EMS division is currently working on a new airway bag that's completely vinyl, and it's going to be nice and cleanable. And inside that airway bag, you will actually get all 5 blades. So you're going to go from the 0, from the neonates, all the way up to the big old giraffe one. You're also going to have your little black case that's protecting your UE scope. And you will also have a little bag that we're recommending in the EMS division that you place in the office so everybody knows where it's at, because it's going to have your USB to UC that's going to help charge it, and also to take the pictures from your camera and attach to your PCR. And also in there is going to be your charging port that you can actually just connect to the USB to charge up your scope. Remember, every Tuesday or whenever your weekly is on that, I would go and charge this up. Remember, it's 200 minutes time, but from 0 to full charge is a full 3 hours. So make sure you charge that up at least once weekly. When you're taking your UE scope out, it's got to be attached to the blade before you turn it on. So once again, you have your left top is going to be your power. I've got a full charge. Remember, it's 200 minutes. On the bottom left is going to be the icons that we're going to go through in a minute. And you're also going to have your date and your time. So let's go through your features. Push it once. On the settings, if you go push the settings, here's where you can change your date or time. When you push your settings button, here are the features that are under here. Enable freezing. The only way I can tell you about this is this would be like you doing a panoramic shot on your phone. We're going to keep this in the off mode, and the reason being is if you push the black button to take a picture, it's continuously picturing, but if you move your laryngoscope, you're not going to be able to see what's happening until you push the black button again. So keep enable freezing off. You want to keep your enable mirroring on. When your enable mirroring's on and you go to do a face-to-face intubation, you're going to push your on button once, and it's going to take your screen and flip it for you. The enable recording you're going to keep off, and what the enable recording is, as soon as you put a blade on and the enable recording's on, it's going to start filming immediately. They do this for the anesthesiologist world because they go back and edit their videos. We don't edit our videos, so keep enable recording off. You're going to keep enable auto shutdown on, because if you forget to turn it off in 10 minutes, this will turn itself off. So on the settings screen, enable mirroring should be on, and enable auto shutdown should be on. If you go to IMG, this is your image adjust. This is where you can make the screen lighter or darker, different types of saturations and concentrations. So if you're intubating out in direct sunlight. So with this is your screen brightness screen. That's what the luminescence means. On your system, you're going to need to keep the enable AV output on, and that's so you can take your still pictures and attach them to your PCRs. Your language setting is in English. When you get to the point, now this is 32 gigabytes. So this is going to take a substantial amount of pictures. So let's say in a year from now, you're actually full on your memory. Remember, all those pictures have been attached to your QA reports. You would actually go into systems and you would erase all the files, so you would dump the whole 32 gigabytes to start again. Don't play with the restore default settings. That's something the EMS operations will do. If something happens here, they can actually reset your computer for you. And the Wi-Fi, we do not use. Simple pushing back gets you to the return. And now you're ready. Remember, you've got to have a blade attached to be able to see a picture. So I'm going to go over a couple of ways that we need to intubate this patient. And so the first thing you're going to do is pull out the size blade that you want. You're going to click it into your U-Vision, and you're going to turn it on. You're going to see the screen come up, and once again the battery's going to be in the left, and I make sure my time and the date is correct. A little bit different when you're intubating. Remember, this is a smaller blade that's very, very similar to an old style Miller, and it's hyperangulated. So when you go to intubate this patient, you need to make sure they're hyperflexed. You're going to take your scope and you're going to go in on the right side of the mouth and consciously sweep the tongue to the left. This device is very simple that a lot of people are going to want to go back on the teeth and do a fulcrum. Consciously remind yourself, I'm going to be pushing my arm away. Right side of the mouth. Look for the middle of the tongue. Looking for the vallecula. I'm going to put the scope in there and I'm going to consciously push my arm away. And when I push my arm away, I get a great view of the vocal cords. As my tube is going through the vocal cords, I'm going to take a still shot, inflate my bulb, start going through my conformation. So as we go to watch through this intubation, if you notice, I start on the right side of the mouth. I've already swept the tongue away. I've found the vallecula. I've actually been able to successfully get the epiglottis up, and I'm bringing my tube in. I see the vocal cords, the arytenoids, and I put the tube right through the cord. Remember, we're not doing video right now to attach to the PCRs. What we're going to do is a still shot. So as soon as your tube goes through the cords, single push of the black button takes that still shot to show that you had a successful intubation. This is a classic example of the still picture that I just took when I intubated that mannequin a second ago. As you can see on the bottom is going to be your date, also your time. What QA is looking for is as my tube is passing through the vocal cords, and I've seen my cuff go beyond the vocal cords, I'm going to push that black button once and get a still shot. This still shot will be the one that is attached to your PCR.
So remember, a blaze attached to my scope is turned on. I have the screen mirroring on. I have a patient who's entrapped in a car, and I need to intubate this patient. If I didn't have the screen mirroring turned on, now I'm looking at everything upside down. If I touch the button once, I have now changed my view to the point where I can then look at the screen upright. Here is the normal way. All my airways upside down for this face-to-face, this patient entrapped in a car that I'm going to intubate. Screen mirroring's on. I push the on button once, and now the camera view is reversed, so I can now do this face-to-face intubation looking at the anatomy the way I wanted to. So after you've done a successful intubation, you get back to the station. Don't forget that the screen is going to need to be cleaned. If it's been contaminated by anything, we're going to use 70% alcohol. EMS Operations Division is going to get you some wipes. But in the meantime, just remember your alcohol swipes that you use to disinfect your patient prior to IV access is actually what you're going to be using right now to clean the screen. Don't use any of the other chemicals at the station. They're too harsh for this little computer. So I've just came back from intubating a patient. I've decontaminated the screen as need be. What you're going to do is come over to the side, and this is where we're going to charge it at, but this is how I'm going to pull my still pictures to attach to your PCR. You're going to put it in the C port. You're then going to put it into a USB port. Turn your device on, showing that I am now connected. It's like a thumb drive. A USB thumb drive is all this is. So if you notice, I'm in USB drive E. I've got my two folders. If you're looking at it, I would know that this is the one that's attached to, and these are my two folders. These are pictures, that's what the P is, and the V is for video.
Alright, so once we have the file connected into the cord and the eView2 is connected to the computer, you'll be able to see the documents that you can upload from the actual file system folder that we saw in that previous little area there. Once you go in there, you're going to click the file into the computer itself and upload it into the chart. You'll click on the camera button. It's going to ask you, do you want to access your camera? We're not doing that right now, so you can just click out of that. You'll instead go to add attachment, and then you're going to browse the files, and from there you're going to attach. Once you've attached, you will just put a little description in here saying that this is going to be the video laryngoscope, and you'll hit attach. Once you hit attach, it's connected to the file, and we'll be able to see it from there. Thank you.